Tena juma hili kupitia mitandao ya kijamii, Wakenya wamelishambulia shirika la kimataifa la mikopo IMF wakilitaka lisiipe Kenya mkopo wa shilingi bilioni 257 kwa madai kwamba serikali ina mazoea ya kutumia pesa za umma katika hali isiyoeleweka na kumwongezea mlipa ushuru gharama zaidi. IMF hata hivyo iliwajibu wa Kenya na kusema kwamba ikiwa itaibania Kenya mkopo huo, basi Kenya itaathirika zaidi, kwani mashirika mengine ya kutoa mikopo watatumia fursa hiyo kuitoza Kenya riba ya juu zaidi kwenye mikopo yake, na Kenya itajipata katika lindi kubwa la mikopo. Tuungane naye mchanganuzi wa masuala ya uchumi na fedha Bwana Mahugu, ambaye pia ndiye mkurugenzi mkuu wa shirika la habari la Hope Media lililo chini ya kanisa la Sitam, apate kutueleza hili lina maana gani hasa katika uchumi wa taifa hili. Naam, Bwana Mahugu, asante sana kwa kuungana nasi jioni hii. Naomba tueleze basi mikopo hii ina madhara gani hasa katika taifa la Kenya na walipa ushuru kwa ujumla?
Thank you very much for your questions, Brother Dickens. My name is Mahugu. I'm the head of media at Christ is the Answer Ministries. The media house is called Hope Media. I thank you for your questions that you have raised with us, and particularly with me, about the IMF debt impact here in Kenya. I'd like to say and join other business analysts like Jaidi Kisero, Kina Brother D, and others who have already commented to a large extent what the government needs to have done or needs to do. We also have seen the public reacting concerning the recent debts that the government is about to sign or has signed with the International Monetary Fund. My approach is this. As a CEO of this organization, I would imagine the president is the CEO of this country, Kenya. And he has to balance the books of all the expenditures and incomes that we are generating through taxes. Just like I have incomes from advertising, and then the expenditures that we have to incur even to broadcast this particular news item. The fact of the matter is we cannot live without debt. For instance, Kenya could be earning 50 shillings, but we need 100 shillings to cover all the issues that the country has. If you can only raise 50 shillings out of 100, the government has to source cheaply the 50 shillings to balance our books. Now, the IMF debts that have come in are a good thing, because we're in a kind of a difficult situation with the pandemic. The pandemic has depressed even companies and organizations like this. We do not have as much business as we used to do. But the expenditure is still there to sustain us until such time that the economy may turn around.
Na mwaka uliopita pindi tu kulipozuka janga hili la corona, Kenya ilikopa jumla ya shilingi bilioni 79.3 kutoka kwa IMF. Wakenya wanauliza hela hizo zilienda wapi na kwani hazikutosha? Na mbali na hiyo, mbona kukopa kiasi hiki, Bwana Mahugu?
Now, what people are asking is, can you tell us the 79 or 80 billion shillings that we got last year when we had COVID, where did the money go? If the public is well explained about where the money went, clearly, transparently, I don't think people have a problem. Let me give a simple example. We are 47 million Kenyans. The cost of AstraZeneca vaccine, we are told, is about $7.70. That's about 800 bob. So to deliver it into Turkana, it might cost that one jab 1,000 bob. If you're 47 million and what is costing 1,000 bob, so we need 47 billion Kenya shillings to supply vaccines enough for everybody. So doing the mathematics of billions is not a difficult thing. So one set of vaccine for 47, we need 47 billion. Therefore, the government can easily explain the 250 billion that is coming, explaining clearly through proper accounting where the money is going. And therefore, I also want to say that IMF should also help Kenya to build what we call capacity building within central bank and treasury, such that we can isolate these offices. Treasury to be left now managing the expenditure of the government, debt management to be left to monitor the issuance and the redemption of government securities, and central bank left to do the monetary policies. If that is separated, then we have now a person who we can hold responsible and accountable, the Public Debt Management Office. But we have also now to get Parliament involved, because they have to do the registration that creates that office. And that probably might not have enough time that we have been given by IMF to have done the austerity measures or confirmation of austerity measures, because it takes time to do new registration. Therefore, would also ask that even as IMF comes to support us with the goodwill of the government, they don't come and pressure the government to increase fuel prices, cut civil service jobs, and so many other critical aspects of matters. I was looking at the Kenya report, that was a World Bank report that did the Kenya review status of how the economy is. And we can see, of course, the debt is quite high, because we are doing about 76% of your earnings converted to debt, and only about 24% which is left for capital and development expenditure. That the public is bound to ask, why are we in that kind of a situation? And the government should come and answer that.
Mbona serikali hutoa habari kile inapopania kukopa ila haielezei Wakenya jinsi pesa hizo zinavyotumika? Na kisha mbona mikopo mingi tu, wakati baadhi ya maafisa serikalini wanafuja mali ya umma na kuachia Wakenya mzigo mzito?
That's a very good question. What I would say is that if the government was able to explain how the money is allocated and spent, it would be easy for Kenyans to easily understand. Let me give an example. I would like to thank CS Kagwe and Dr. Mangagi. They are giving us the corona statistics on a daily basis. And here they are able to explain the number of those people they tested, how many they discovered were infected, how many have been healed, those who are at home, at hospital. And they tell us on a daily basis. And therefore, Kenyans now know the state, they know the risk. Tuliona, the rate sometimes had gone all the way to over 20%. Now it's coming to about 16, 13, 14%. Now people now know the intensity of that sickness, and therefore they are able to tell themselves and motivate themselves to follow the Ministry of Health protocols. If the government, through the other cabinet secretaries, were able, let's say on a weekly basis, were able to explain to Kenyans in the various sectors of the economy what is happening concerning debt, concerning the spending, concerning their budgets, concerning the health, agriculture, and so on and so forth, people will not be up in arms with the government. Over 200,000 people wrote on IMF pages talking about, don't give that money to this government. It's because there's lack of explanation.
Naam, Bwana Mahugu, tumekuwa na marais wanne katika tawala nne tangu tulipopata uhuru kama taifa. Serikali zilizopita tatu kwa kweli hazikuwa na mazoea ya kuchukua mikopo, ili hali uchumi wa Kenya ulikuwa waimarika na Wakenya haukuwa na kilio kuhusu masuala ya ushuru nchini, ushuru wa juu haswa. Na Mkenya mahali fulani katika taifa hili wajiuliza, mbona serikali ya sasa yachukua mikopo sana, ili hali kuna ufujaji wa pesa kwa wingi na mali ambayo isiyoendelea? Pamoja pia swala la maendeleo, unapata wengi wanasema kwamba maendeleo hayapo. Ni kipi haswa chaendelea, Bwana Mahugu? Kwa kumalizia,
each regime has a focus onto a certain aspect of the society. I'm privileged to have seen all the presidents of this country because I was born before independence. And we saw the first president of this country focus more on that liberation from the colonialists. And they wanted the land of Kenya now to be in the hands of Kenyans. And that's where we saw many rich people buying a lot of chunks of land and investing in land and agriculture, and so on and so forth. The second president came and now determined the fact that we needed more of education. And he focused on schools, the schools for girls, for boys, and everything that he spoke about. This time not generally about land and colonialism and issues like that. He focused on education. Then we had our third president. Our third president now comes in, and he focuses now on infrastructure development, not even mostly education or maybe land and issues like that. He focuses now on infrastructure development. You can see by every regime as the country grows through its lifetime, different focuses will come. We saw now the President Uhuru Kenyatta currently had the Big Four agenda. And those are the things that he really wanted to focus on. But some of these agendas will take a longer time. Many of them require capital investments. And he's bound to borrow money to fix these matters because Kenya is not generating enough cash flow. You say for the country to have reached a point whereby it's generating enough investments and incomes to be able to sustain its capital expenditure, it takes time. It also depends on the goodwill of the previous governments and the focuses that we did in investing in projects that generate incomes. And what we have seen in the past is that majority of the governments that we have had have got a lot of weight in terms of personnel, in terms of civil service salaries. And like now the parliaments, they are very expensive organs to maintain. And therefore they're eating a very big chunk of our incomes. The recurrent expenditure for salaries is almost 50%. Almost half of all the income goes to people's pockets as salaries. So that is not sustainable. And now we need the president or the coming president now to focus on doing those austerity measures to trim these excesses that we have.
Naam, shukrani za dhati Bwana Mahugu kwa uchanganuzi huu.